Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope you're having a great day or night, whatever the case may be. I'm Troy B., your necessary nerd from Cosplay Zine, and this is Cosplay Goes. It's presented by Cosplay Zine, a magazine that features cosplayers and photographers from all over the world. And we have a special guest here. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amber. I guess depending where you know me from, that sounds so weird to say, where you see me, TikTok, Instagram, Lucille.Ricardo, or the other side of laughter. But beneath all that, it's me, Amber. Hello. Thank you for having me.
So how long have you been doing this? And you do a kind of like an impersonation, I would say, of Lucille Ball?
Well, I'm going to take it back long ago. I've always been into theater and performing, and I used to do commercials and print work and stuff when I was a kid. And I just always loved theater. I love live theater, improv, just anything interactive is really fun and really kind of fulfills that creative need in me. But I've always been into cosplay, I guess you would call it. But dressing up, and I would always really get into my Halloween costumes. I had to put unless I put all the detail in and really went for it and researched the characters and I felt confident that I could bring them to life, I didn't want to do it. Like, I was never someone who liked to do Halloween and just slap on some makeup and a costume. But as far as Lucy goes, I actually didn't start Lucy as a cosplay. I started at a local Southern California theme park, portraying her professionally. So that has been my full-time job for 6 years, pre-pandemic, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm actually approved by Lucille Ball's family to portray her. So I would do it at the park, but then I'd also get to bring the laughter of Lucy to events across the country. I've been to Salem, Massachusetts near Halloween, which is spooky and fun. I usually do a grape stomp event every year. I do a See's Candy, Lucy and the Chocolates thing every year. But this year has looked a lot different due to everything going on. So I've kind of moved into the I started a TikTok and got my creativity out that way and have definitely over the past few years become more of a part of the cosplay community and made connections and gotten to know all these people and collaborated on things. It's been super fun. So my world's glad.
Yeah. So with a pandemic and when it first happened, what was going on, as far as, was there a con canceled or an event that, was supposed to happen and it just got canceled? How did that go for you?
Well, theme park life, we meet thousands of people a day. We're shaking hands and hugging people and, cuddling kids. Very, interactive, hands-on. We're close with people, and there are people from all over the world, all different countries. And so we were really keeping an eye on what was going on overseas and then in Florida on the East Coast, what they were doing. And we kind of knew day by day, like, we're going to shut down for a little bit. Yeah. And at first it was only supposed to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Here we are. Surprise.
This was like, when it all happened here, I was like, and everybody kind of like, the governor got really popular because they were like, oh, he's going to save us. Everything's going to be fixed in 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever the case may be. And then me being more a numbers guy instead of, just kind of going off of what people say, I was following the numbers for the coronavirus the whole time. And I was looking to where this, what all the events happened. Mardi Gras, 1.4 million people partied 10 days after Trump announced that there was a pandemic. So I'm like, this is a bad idea. All the beaches still open, during the pandemic. This is a bad idea. With all this happening, and then you've seen how much the New Orleans and New York was affected by this after, Mardi Gras and all this stuff like that, that it just didn't make sense, any of the numbers that they were saying for when this was going to get back together. If you think about everybody on planes traveling near each other, that's not, it's going to go all over the world, and it actually is affecting at least every place right now. So, some people want to make it political, but if you look at the numbers, there's, people in the Philippines and all over the world who are affected by this.
Yes, I have opinions. Viruses are not political.
Definitely.
It's called a global pandemic because everyone is being infected. But
exactly.
I digress. But we knew we were going to close the park, and then it happened. And then my son was in kindergarten at the time, and then they announced the next week that they'd be doing virtual schooling. So that was kind of like, okay, I can be home for that because I'm not going to be working for a couple of weeks, 7 months later. But then slowly, like I had a few birthday parties that I was booked to do and events that I was booked to do. And then my big event I do in San Francisco every year, which is three days I fly out for, and I perform at this event for hours each night. And it's a big deal. And I had a lot of big things coming. And they all started slowly calling and saying, sorry for, health and safety. We can't, or we can't have that many people legally in a building anymore. So all of my events for the rest of the year had gone away. So I kind of had to improvise and adapt. And I started doing virtual telegrams with Lucy.
So that's awesome.
You can book a Zoom. You can go on my website and you can book a Lucygram and send the laughter of Lucy and say happy birthday or happy anniversary or I'm sorry, variety of things. So
that's really great. So, when did it happen for you? We went back and we talked about, kind of like your desire and interest in, theater arts and different things like that. But when did it click that, was there a lot of people saying that you look like Lucy, or did you just, a big fan of Lucy and then you seen it, or did other people see it and suggest it to you, or how did that really go down?
I stubbed my toe and there it was. No, it was.
You were sitting in a chocolate factory thinking this could not be your job.
And someone went, boy, you look like Lucy. No, I was not discovered or anything. I loved comedy. I've always been into, I don't want to call it my brand because it's so many people's brand. I've always enjoyed facial reactions and physical comedy. And I guess you could say that a lot of I Love Lucy is based on her, her big reactions and which they were all written in by the writers. She gives so much credit, Lucy Ball, to her writers because they wrote in every double take, every wide eye thing. So it was such a hallmark of that show, her facial reactions. But when I would do theater, and I had long red hair for about 15 years, and after performances in high school or college, people would say, your facial reactions remind me of Lucille Ball. And I just would kind of be like, okay, that girl that's on, the Hallmark Channel every night, Big Whoop, the girl who, you go to Hollywood Boulevard and you see Marilyn Monroe and Elvis everywhere. Yeah. And they've kind of become these cartoonish stereotypes almost. And Lucy, thankfully, because of the control that her family still has over her image, they don't really let her get too kitschy. But I would still see her face on Hollywood Boulevard. So I associated her with, gift shops and whatnot.
And I've always, loved like older shows, classic shows, and there's a lot of strong female characters that come, roles and actresses that's really kind of inspired and changed things for, a lot of women in the industry to be able to do what they love to do and inspire them, and always watched Mary Tyler Moore, and she was the first woman to they let actually wear pants. They didn't want her to wear pants on TV, and she would kind of sneak in there shots, wear pants, and they were trying to they figured out that she didn't want to wear dresses and stuff, so they started kind of pushing her to the side, not putting her in shots as much. But she didn't care; she would just kind of sneak in there. So, there was a lot of pioneers of women. And I watched, I would binge watch Lucy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love Lucy. Not to be cliche, but I was like, and I'm going to interview someone who, does. And I was like,
I hear it all the time.
Am I going to cry?
I'm not cry worthy. It's fine.
Some things you do,
I think, people were really paying me a compliment when they would tell me that. And I understand that now as, I'm in my 30s now, and I have obviously studied her and learned about her and her upbringing and her life and all the struggles she went through, and have gotten to know her, so to speak. Not only the character Lucy Ricardo she played on the show, but who she was as a person and a performer and a mother and an entrepreneur and a businesswoman. So now I have so much respect and appreciate all those people who said, hey, you look like, remind me of Lucy. Because at the time, being a punk kid, I was like, okay, it's great. But I, before having a child, I had all the time in the world to get cute for parties. And I would dress up in, vintage clothes and do my hair in victory rolls and wear red lipstick. And so I was really I loved old Hollywood, which was so funny to me. Why when people said, oh, you remind me of Lucy, I kind of turned my nose up at it because I love old Hollywood. And
it's kind of like a flattering thing. Like, you reminded me of this famous actress, and you're like, no, stop.
Because she was on TV all the time. So I was like, dime a dozen. She's always on TV.
Exactly.
I know different now. But I was at a 4th of July party, and I had my red hair and my lips, and my friend who previously worked at the theme park that I work at, he looked at me and kind of cocked his head, and he said, have you ever auditioned to be Lucy there? And I said, no. And he goes, you should. Oh, you should. You're not going to get it, but you should. I went, I'm sorry, I'm not going to get it.
That's like, here's your dream, but good luck with that. It's so negative and positive at the same time.
Well, then he explained that the process for Lucy is different than any other character there. So let's say you're auditioning for another character and the park likes you. They'll say, okay, you're hired. Great. You're going to do your training and start work. For Lucy, you audition and they say, great, we love you. Now you have to take photos and video, and we're going to send them to Lucy's family, her daughter and her granddaughter. No big deal.
Oh, wow.
And then they're going to send some notes back, and you're going to have to tweak some things and maybe redo it. And then we'll send it back, and then we'll see. And the process took 9 months from start to finish. And I got it.
Awesome.
But I was only the fourth Lucy on the West Coast in 30 years. So definitely a rare breed. And I am so grateful, and I do not take it for granted. And I really thought I wasn't going to get it. But I worked really hard.
That's awesome. And then you deserve it. You work hard for something. But I'm sure you did a lot of recreations of photos. But let's go ahead and look at those photos, and see if we can get those up on the screen. We have the photos. If you could put the photos on the screen. Oh, I'm working for myself, so I guess I'll do that.
Page manager, where are you? Halloween vibes for sure.
Yeah, tell us about this photo shoot.
Well, it's two ladies impersonating other ladies. So that is my dear friend Stephanie, and we actually met auditioning for these characters. We auditioned together, and she was this sweet girl from Texas, and oh, there we are again. And she was so nice. I was so nervous. I was like shaking in my chair. And we went in the same group, and they gave us, you know, a couple lines to read as those, as those characters. Um, and I did my thing, and she did her thing, and then we went back to the waiting room, and I was still like, ugh. And she reached over and said, "You were so good, and if you don't get it, I'm going to be mad." But she, from day one, such a support. And we've just been friends ever since. And we both have been very lucky, very blessed to be able to do this professionally at the park, but as well as, oh, there's Stephanie, Stephanie Stewart, Miss Marilyn Monroe on Instagram. And over the years, we kind of, I'm loving all these photos. I miss her so much. We haven't been able to see each other, obviously, aside from, you know, distanced, masked meetups in the backyard. But as the years went on, we said, why don't we kind of partner up and work together in getting gigs and kind of developing who we are as performers, not only as these characters, but also as stilt walkers, because we both stilt walk, as singers, as dancers, as whatever we want to do. The world is our oyster, so let's create that. So she actually came up with the name Mary Lou, Marilyn and Lucy, a play on Desilu. And we started Mary Lou Productions. So we have our website, Mary Lou Productions. We have a YouTube. And we've done some fun things, just creative projects where here in Burbank, we have Magnolia Boulevard, which has been a huge vintage street, vintage shopping, and all sorts of fun experiences there. And so we had Mary Lou on Magnolia. So we did a bunch of episodes where we visited all the vintage shops and interviewed the owners and the curators and all those people. So that was fun. So we've been able to do some fun things. And my husband used to run a theater, a playhouse here in California. And we all have, you know, event experience and performing experience, directing, producing, just creative people. So he kind of looked at Stephanie and I one day and said, what if we did a vintage festival? Because you guys know that world. And so the three of us all kind of co-created over a month and many headaches Glamour Days, a vintage celebration. And it's a vintage festival that we put on March 7th, a week before everything shut down. It was insane that we fit that in. But yeah, we've all kind of branched into these beautiful creative projects, and I'm very grateful for her. So yay, those photos were fun. But those were taken by our friend Jason. He runs Bridget Marie Collective, which is also an online magazine. You guys could be soul brothers in your magazine
Sounds
ventures.
Good. So we have we've talked to cosplayers who do you know, vintage types of cosplays. I know somebody who does the Green Hornet and Lone Ranger, and he was going to be a part of an event right before the cosplay, or before the quarantine started with everything, and you know, everything had to shut down. But he was going to be recognizing something for like City Hall as Green Hornet, and actually showing up there, and
that's
they were
awesome.
do like a dedication and everything like that. So I think they're still going to do it online and stuff. But yeah, I love to see vintage, you know, more vintage cosplays. And I think we should probably do a vintage cosplay feature in our magazine soon.
I think it's great because, you know, you have cosplay, these characters that are based on comic books or animated or, you know, film and TV. And then you have, you know, cosplayers or impersonators on that side of things. Like Stephanie, my friend who does Marilyn, she also does Mae West, and she's amazing. You know, we have friends who do Judy Garland and Audrey Hepburn. And so when you can kind of blend those worlds, it's really awesome. I've been able to be a part of a lot of events, or invited to a lot of events that have been vintage centric. and Lucy fits into
Yeah.
that. So that's very cool.
Yeah. And I've always been, fascinated with, impersonators and, people who can embody that, and I've done, I do a little bit of, just like impressions myself, but I've never, put it, to that, but they're always odd impressions of just random people. It's not like, there's a lot of people out there do Family Guy and stuff like that. And I'm like, mine are so obscure, I'm like doing, Waterboy from, Adam Sandler.
See, but
Yeah.
there's a niche for that. There's somebody who will enjoy it.
I'd love to find it. I'd love to
I
find it.
love that is one thing I have found enjoyable about the TikTok side of things, is that there are so many, I feel like not impressionism, that's a style of art, impressions and cosplay has kind of, it's how do you define cosplay? It's costume play,
Yeah.
and that can be such a range of things, of somebody who just wants to put on a costume and feel cool in it. There's people who spend time making their own costumes, people who completely transform themselves. So I enjoy that there's a place for everybody in it. But on TikTok, what I'm seeing a lot of is more of people who completely transform themselves. They use special effects makeup and all that, but there's lots of people who do random impressions
Yeah.
or cosplays of Waterboy,
Yeah.
so
And I'm like, and I'm on TikTok, and I've actually did, my impression on TikTok, and I was like, after I did it, I was on there and I was like, hello, thanks everybody for checking out my TikTok, and my mama said that I could have the TikTok now. Thank you so much for being my friend. And and then I got done, and I was like, does anybody even know who that is anymore? Because it's, it was like in the 90s, and things are starting to fade away, and it's like,
nah, you can make a whole career out of 90s and impressions. That's
I'm waiting on my check. Where I think it got lost in the mail.
It will come.
Yeah.
But I think that was another completely weird, I don't know, just this pandemic journey I've been taken on is because I don't know that I'd call myself a cosplayer, because it was my job for so long.
Yeah.
And it kind of I became a part of that community and started working with cosplayers, and it was like, yes, let's do this.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, it's like costume play.
Mm-hmm.
If you add an impression to a costume play, kind of mix that together, and you kind of have this like impersonator sort, so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, I would say, embodying the character.
We need to come up with a name for that.
Yeah.
That's not impersonator.
Embodier sounds super suspect there. That's
sounds
probably
like
not
the body snatchers.
yeah. So I'm gonna have to think on that one.
I'm a professional body snatcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the thing about TikTok that kind of throws me is that people enjoy seeing people recreate stuff. TikTok is all about the sounds. Which sound can I use? Can I lip sync to it? And because I think I'm pretty good at looking like Lucy, I can pull that off. And when I'm able to mix it with sounds from episodes, that's fun for me, because I'm like, oh, I get to pretend to be, Lucy in the episode. And that's really great, and people love that. And then people kind of just assume like, oh, you just dress up as her, you probably don't sound like her since you're using sound bites from the show, when my entire career has been based off of sounding like her and getting the mannerisms. So it's just been weird. It's been a weird learning all different.
So speaking of recreating the the moments of Lucy, I'm sure you've had a lot of good photographer. Have you had a chance to like take photo shoots and recreate some of the like the show's kooky crazy moments?
There was a photo that I almost sent you and I didn't. But our photographer friend Jason, who took those photos, um, in that same session, I wanted to get some of Lucy's classic polka dot dress, and I had one created for me, and it was really awesome. And I wanted to take photos with it, and he took photos of me in his kitchen with a mixing bowl and the spoon to kind of recreate that classic. There's a classic photo of Lucy where she's in the kitchen, like, ooh, and they've made it I forget which museum it is, but it's a wax figure in a museum doing the same thing. And he photoshopped me into the Ricardo's kitchen doing that. So there's that, recreation.
That's cool.
I mean, a lot of photo shoots I've done as her, with her, whatever we want to call it. It's more of getting the feel, recreating the feel and the facial expressions and stuff like that. My gears have been turning the past 7 months.
Like, where can I find a big thing to wrestle in some wine?
So like on people on TikTok,
with some grapes.
Okay, can you recreate the grape stomp episode? Can you recreate the chocolate factory episode? I don't have a conveyor belt nor 1,000 truffles, but when I do, but I did have the idea. A lot of people don't know there was the I Love Lucy comic book, and there were several issues of it, and I thought that would be so fun to film it, make a little web series out of that, or at least do photo shoots. So instead of looking at the comic strip, it would be real life photos that are recreating that. So I've got a bunch of ideas going, but I just kind of did a fun TikTok thing where I took an old Senka commercial that Lucy and Desi were in, and I recorded myself saying Lucy's lines, lip syncing Lucy's lines, and then I spliced the footage together to recreate the commercial. So that was fun.
That's awesome. So you've gotten probably when you did get to go to did you go to conventions as well, or before the pandemic?
Not really, because again, I it's been my job for so long. It didn't come about.
Kept you busy a lot. Yeah.
Well, it didn't. Being Lucy didn't come about from wanting to cosplay her. It came about as my job and something I enjoyed doing. So kind of the idea of going from my day-to-day job where I have people following me and going, let's get a picture. Oh my gosh, I love you, which can be exhausting.
Yeah.
You're popular.
Yeah.
But
it might be about my impressionist check.
Oh, it's coming in. Your body snatcher job is taking off.
Hello, I'm doing an interview. Would you like to be a part of it?
Not today.
Okay, then you can call me back.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Continue.
Your agent.
We might edit that out. I don't know.
But the day-to-day of my job, I really enjoyed it, but it was very draining. It's sometimes an energy that people have of gimme, because they're so excited to meet characters and they want to meet you and they want you to meet them, and they want to feel in the 1 to 2 minute interaction they have with you, they want to feel encompassed in your world, and it takes a lot of energy. So to think about doing that at a convention, it was so exhausting even just thinking about it, because I viewed it more as work. So when I would go to conventions, I'd put together a Wonder Woman cosplay, or we did I like your shirt because I love Peggy Carter, and I did a Peggy Carter cosplay.
That's awesome.
So I like to take those opportunities to do cosplay characters that I don't get to do all the time, because having it be a full-time job and then doing it for fun on the side wasn't always fun. Now I appreciate it because I don't get to do it for my job.
Yeah, and I could imagine, someone who looks like the person, so much like a person who goes into, a building where that could be a problem, and especially that, it's like there's a lot of Harlequins that are walking around, that's just a character on a show. People love Harley Quinn, but there's a lot of them. But then when someone who shows up who's doing popular, impersonation, inviting Lucille Ball, a rare, thing to happen, then I could see that could be, a problem. Like you'd never get out of the convention. Someone would try to steal you or something.
I've been to the Dapper Day Expo a couple times because I've worked with Besame Cosmetics quite a bit. Because Gabriella from Besame Cosmetics, she has a whole museum in the store of her personal collection of vintage makeup from the 20s all the way through the 80s. If you like makeup, you should go check it out. But I've worked with Besame a few times, Stephanie and I both. And they actually just came out with the Lucille Ball collection. They're celebrating iconic women in history, and she's the first line that they've done. So they asked me to be a part of that, and I got hired to create a couple commercials, and I got to film those from home, and that was really fun. So that was kind of the start of like, I'm going to do projects from home.
Yeah.
So for Agent Carter, I stopped by the booth and kind of, milled about. And then for the Mermaid Lagoon collection that they did, Stephanie and I were also there for that, and got to go to the parties for the launch of those. So we did go to the Disneyland Dapper Day Expo twice. And oh my word, 3 times. Just kidding, 3 times. Yeah, it was a lot. It's very strange to have a lot of attention because I'm not a famous person. I'm impersonating a famous person. Yeah. And everybody feels like they know Lucy. It's fun, and I'm flattered. And I meet so many people who have stories about. I've met so many people who watched Lucy with their parents or with their grandparents, and it means so much to them. So I'm happy to be able to be that reminder. I've had people tell me, their family stories.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very grateful to be able to kind of, like I said, be that connector for them, that remembrance of happy times. But I think, it was for me, that was my job. So to do it at a convention that I wasn't getting paid for, it just felt so exhausting. But I had so much fun being able to go to WonderCon and other conventions as different characters and kind of be hidden and to see everybody having such a good time and doing their thing.
And then you go, do you, and I noticed like in your mannerisms, when you're talking that, I'm like, that's Lucy. Like earlier before we started recording this and something was technical issue and you had the facial expression that was, and so do you find yourself doing that when you're not trying to do that after doing it for long, or do you just kind of just turn it on for fun? What would you say, both?
I think, you hear actors and actresses who, they take on a role for a movie or a TV show, and, you film for a few months, sometimes a year or so to get a film done. And they're like, oh, the character didn't leave me. But then once they're done, they can kind of move on. But, it's 8 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week, doing this for 6 years, it kind of really becomes a part of you. And especially, when people meet her, it's a snapshot. You get a couple minutes and you want to make that classic Lucy, without making it cartoonish, but really have that energy and bring them in. And people love the spider, and the big eyes and the yell and the Ricky, and you try to work those in. So those become second nature, I think. Yeah. And I spent so long, even if I don't sound exactly like her or look exactly like her, if you get enough of the boxes checked, people's brains go, oh, that's totally her, So if I can get the mannerisms down, the waving or how she held her hands, I feel like if I can check those boxes, the illusion is more complete. So they're kind of ingrained in me, but you know, like I said, when I used to do theater, I made big eyes and big facial expressions. So it really was funny how easily some of her expressions came to me. Um, you know, and I've had people go, I had someone say, I'm a past life expert. What year were you born? Because I really feel like, like you're Lucy reborn. I said, well,
Yeah.
I was born 3 years before she died. So
Oh.
I don't think we share a spirit, but I don't know. I like to chalk it up to just a lot of studying and a lot of hard work that I've done. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to, I don't know. I'm one of those people that I've been told, hey, your face is showing, you know, like if I'm listening to somebody talk, I have a hard time hiding my reactions because you'll see it on my face.
Yeah. So when like I've just just cosplaying, I like to kind of get into the character as far as their voice goes, if I can do the voice, and that's really helped our magazine, because I've one of my go-to cosplays, which I actually did. I did Mad Hatter, like a steampunk Mad Hatter this year.
Oh,
It was my
cool.
first time doing that for Halloween. But my usual like go-to cosplay was Beetlejuice, and then I would go there and I would go to the cons and I would talk like that. I would be like, hey, come here, come here. Let's do
Isn't it
this. Come on.
freeing? Like for me, like even talking to you right now, I feel like I have my interview personality. Like my phone, everyone says, "Oh, you have your phone voice." You know what I'm talking about? Like when someone calls you,
Yeah.
hello, versus how you actually talk.
I'm gonna start answering the phone like, hello.
Hello, it's I. But we all have different parts of ourselves, and I think talking with people, like this, it's hard to describe. I get uncomfortable talking as myself. I'm a very sometimes awkward, shy, not confident person. So to be able to step into a character, Lucy's very confident. She thinks she can do anything. She believes she can do anything. She is going to be in that show. She is going to hug John Wayne. Nobody can stop her. She has big dreams and she's going to be famous. That kind of confidence and glee and energy, it can be so freeing because I can go talk to people that, normally I wouldn't talk to, or I can, so it's neat. So do you find that that's the same for you when you get to be, when you dress up at a convention?
Yeah, and I'll I had panic attacks when I was younger, but even before that, in class I would not speak to anybody. I didn't like it if it was either pass this class or do this assignment or ask the teacher. I would not ask the teacher anything. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I would just kind of sit there thinking, I don't want anybody to look at me. I don't know where that actually came from. But yeah, I was that, I guess, naturally shy. And then when I started doing the characters, it definitely relieved it. Plus, I do a little bit of karaoke, Johnny Cash, and some older songs and country stuff like that. So that type of stuff kind of helped me, I guess, I don't know, get out of my shell or whatever like that. But yeah, I'll stumble on words and stuff like that. But then when I put on a character, then it all just, I guess, kind of goes away. And I think it helps, psychologically with people to be able to kind of escape their own problems or life or whatever just by personifying somebody.
I think that's why a lot of actors do what they do. I mean, at least for me, now my life is varied and exciting as an adult, sometimes exciting. But when I was younger, it was, a way to escape and to be something you're not. Like, oh, I'm going to go be a pirate. Or, I used to work at a different theme park and I was a pirate on stilts. That was fun. Whenever am I going to get to do that in my life? For real? Never. So it's fun. It's fun to be somebody else for a little while, or to feel the confidence that a different character has, or sometimes when you wear a certain outfit, even if it's not cosplay, even if it's just a different style of clothing, but you feel more at home in that outfit. I've got, I call it my boss babe outfit. Oh, it's actually one of the outfits in those pictures, the satin top with the pants, my boss babe pants. And I have a certain pair of shoes, but when I wear those, they're very 1940s clothes, but I feel at home and I feel confident and I feel like I can do anything.
Which photo is that? Let's see. Let's bring that up. I got it right here.
Nah.
Not that one.
I like that dress.
Was it in these set of photos you said?
That one. I love that outfit. The suspenders and the pants. And
yeah. That's awesome.
I got my high pants on my my glasses on. But so I think sometimes for people, an outfit can do that. It can make them feel at home and feel confident. And I feel like some people relate so much to characters in comic books or movies or TV that they feel like, that is me personified, but in a different version. So they feel at home. I mean, I relate to, Barry Allen and Bruce Wayne for a couple of different reasons. And so when I watch those shows, I'm like, it's really cool.
And the other thing I think is video games. I think that's kind of like an escape for people to be another character, at the same time. So, and it's funny you mentioned being a pirate, because we're actually working on a pirate video game.
Very cool.
Soon, so we're hopefully we can get at least a trailer out for that. Maybe get on Kickstarter and promote that.
Scottish pirate in a purple coat in the middle of summer. It was terrifically hot.
So, tell us a little bit, just like where can we find you online? How can we connect with you?
Find me online. Let's see. I'm on Instagram if you want to follow my Lucy shenanigans, lucille.ricardo. If you want to follow me as a person and a performer and a mom at home during a pandemic, it's The Other Side of Laughter. Oh yeah, there we are. The Other Side of Laughter, which is my company name. So, in addition to Mary Lou Productions, I have my own stuff as The Other Side of Laughter. And that's what I've been doing my gigs and business under for the past few months. So that's been really cool to say, Madam CEO of the LLC. But on TikTok, I'm also The Other Side of Laughter. On YouTube and the general interwebs, you can look up Mary Lou Productions, MARILU Productions.com, and the same name on YouTube. And you can see Marilyn and Lucy doing our things. So quite a variety of places. So just Lucy content. You want to follow lucille.ricardo on Instagram, but all the others are good for this as well.
Awesome. We'll definitely link everything in the description below. And thanks so much for joining us. This was really fun.
Thank you for having me. This was a nice break in the pandemic lull, so I appreciate it.
Definitely. And have a great night. And hope to talk to you more and get an update on how everything's going. And, hope we can all get back together soon after this crazy quarantine. So everybody just, wear your mask, do the small things to help other people get over this little problem that we have. And until then, we'll be online and connecting with you in various formats. So make sure you go check out our website. We have official cosplay social network. We created this pre-pandemic, actually, and we, just wanted a place for people to be able to. One second, let me bring that up. Yeah, there it is.
Where's the guide that brings up your things?
Yeah. What love? No. Go to Cosplay Zine. You can go to cosplayzine.com and submit your photos if you want to be featured in one of our issues. But you can go to Cosplay goals.com and actually sign up. It's quick, free, easy, and you can post and follow people on that as well. If you click the homepage on there, you can explore. And when you click explore, you'll actually see all the people who have joined it. You can really quick and easy follow their accounts. You can create your own fan page on there if you'd like to. Create your own groups, just about everything you see on other social networks, but this one is specifically for cosplay, impersonators, and just people that you would usually find at a comic convention.
That's very cool. So that's like the Book of Faces, but for cosplay.
Definitely.
Very neat.
So everybody have a great night, and we'll see you soon.
We're moving on up in the world to the second floor. Yep. Car, where are you? Yoo-hoo. No, it's definitely valet. So, everyone recognized me. No one recognized me. Everyone recognized this one. You have to be careful, incognito, so no one can see you here. Are you incognito or going to a funeral?
Polka dots are dead, Dad.
Oh.